अगर आपके 715 या 718 या 19 मार्क्स आए, then also you cannot get a seat in AIMS New Delhi. Now that is the situation as far as the batch of NEET 2024 is concerned. So ये क्यों हुआ, कैसे हुआ, कब हुआ, उसके बारे में बताने के लिए I have got two special guests who know everything about NEET. They have been associated with NEET for many years. So I do invite my two special friends, Kapil Gupta of NEET Prep and Dr. Anand Mani of Funda Box. Welcome both of you. So अभी जो डेवलपमेंट हुआ है वो ये है कि कलकत्ता हाई कोर्ट हैज स्टेड द काउंसलिंग प्रोसेस. कपिल, यू वर टेलिंग मी बिफोर वी स्टार्टेड रिकॉर्डिंग दैट वो 15 दिन बाद अदरवाइज वुड हैव स्टार्टेड आफ्टर द रिजल्ट्स वर अनाउंस्ड. सो दैट प्रोसेस हैज बीन स्टेड टिल दे डिसाइड टू डिस्पोज ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर पिटिशन. बट लेट्स लुक बैक एंड टॉक अबाउट व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैज हैपेंड. 14 जून को रिजल्ट्स आने वाले थे, 5 मई को एग्जाम हुआ था, 14 जून को रिजल्ट्स आने वाले थे. तकरीबन 24 लाख स्टूडेंट्स ने एग्जाम दिया. लेकिन सरप्राइज ऑन 4th of June when all of us were busy with the election results of the Lok Sabha election, the results of NEET 2024 were also announced. Why do you think the results of NEET were advanced by 10 days? Kapil, you go first.
Sudhir, in my mind, I have not given this particular aspect too much weightage because for me that is speculation. But what I'm trying to do is just trying to crystallize for myself what are the 3-4 very, very important things which are clearly amiss. In my mind, the first thing is, if you conduct a competitive exam in which on rank 1, 720 marks, if there are 67 aspirants, you have not done a good job. Your job was to identify 60,000 best aspirants out of 24 lakh aspirants. You have failed miserably. In a country like Italy, 20,000 people write their medical exam for 2,400 seats. NTA should probably conduct the exam there, not here. It is horrible. If you have to go through a lottery system to get into AIMS Delhi, even though you scored 720 out of 720, this is the fundamental problem. The quality of paper has gone down drastically and someone needs to be held responsible for it.
Kapil is making that point because AIMS Delhi has 56 seats, but as many as 67 students have scored 720 or 720, which means जो बाकी के 11 students हैं उनको AIMS Delhi में at least 11 out of those 67 students will not get a seat in AIMS Delhi. Yes, Kapil, continue.
The second thing is they've given some grace marks. They have quoted. So two things have happened. I was on NDTV on a particular issue where students were given the wrong paper in Balod in Chhattisgarh. Then they were taken, those papers were taken back, then they were given again. And in the process, they lost 25 minutes. They refused to extend the timing from 5:20 to forward, right? Now, what has happened is, what NTA has quoted is, students in Punjab, Haryana and Chhattisgarh went to the court. Court said, do something about it. They made a grievance redressal committee, found what rule could be applied. They found the judgment of Supreme Court in a CLAT thing, 2018 case. They applied it in a very, very shoddy manner. I mean,
but that is for an online examination. The CLAT is an online examination, right?
I'm sure there are people who are getting paid and very smart people out there in NTA. But what they applied is so atrocious. Just to give you a feel of it, they have applied. They say they have applied it around 1,500 aspirants. In NEET, there are around 60,000 government medical college seats. 9,000 would get allotted through All India Counselling. A lot of states, All India Counselling is a better option than state counselling. And out of that, 3,600 are open category seats. So when you give grace marks to 1,500 plus students, you have fundamentally altered the result. And that is the worst part of it. You prepare very, very hard. It is 3,000 to 4,000 hours of preparation. And when you get to know something like this, they still haven't explained this thing in a proper, transparent manner. So this is the second thing that has happened. And third thing is, it has been established there was leak in Bihar. There were people who were caught. NTS said we have debarred people. But they have not said that what is the mechanism through which they have come to the conclusion that in this world of social media, the paper was only with 2 people and they never WhatsApp or sent it to everyone. So, these 3 whammies have resulted into what? Last year cutoff was 610. This year it is either 654 or 655. So a lot of students who were extremely happy, I have received call from parents where they are saying my kid is suffering from mental problems. He's not able to come out of his room, and they are disillusioned. So we are looking at a disaster waiting to happen. Thankfully, till now, one of those things has not happened. But I'm worried that this might happen very soon.
Well, I mean, I was quite, very disturbed when I saw the visual of that student jumping off the ninth floor in Rajasthan. I mean, that was extremely disturbing. And God forbid if something like that has to happen to any parent. Now, Dr. Anand, taking forward from what Kapil just now explained, there are a lot of discrepancies in the manner in which the entire, even the marks that you were talking about earlier in the day, have been given. Tell us with the help of some examples as to what really has happened.
Actually, the major problem what NTA thought was to pacify the students who were affected with these abnormalities. Now, what
Hmm.
happened was, in order to pacify them, they went very lenient on them. I just got a OMR from a student. I will not
Hmm.
name her.
Yeah.
Her score is 336 according to the OMR, and she has scored a perfect 720 on 720 marks. Her paper was
What did you
sent
say was her score? Initial score?
636.
636. Yeah,
636,
636.
yeah. 636, and she scored a perfect 720 marks.
Okay.
So, matlab, what kind of normality has NTA
And
done? Matlab,
and she had
they did not,
attempted the entire paper. She had attempted the entire
she has
paper,
attempted the entire paper. So,
which means
why
she was
grace
not short
marks?
on time. Which means she was not short on time either.
Exactly, exactly. Matlab, I think students like that should come out and give their opinion also, because they are hiding behind something. And then, why was NTA so generous to these people? Matlab, I don't understand which kind of normalcy or grace marks is in such a competitive exam where every one marks matters and the rank deflects by 10,000 ranks. So,
Absolutely.
what kind of normalcy what that NTA has done, I don't understand. Yeah.
And in the past, has at on any time grace marks have been allotted in previous
Not that
NEET?
we know of, because this time also NTA did not mention that it has given grace marks. When all this use started, NTA
Yeah.
put a Twitter feed first,
No,
and
they are.
then they
It
gave
is
a press
shameful.
release.
It is
Huh?
shameful. Means,
It is
what kind of joke it is? Frankly, Sudhir, it is. I've not seen this kind of nonsense in my life.
true.
It is extraordinary. Means, the challenge which I find is there could be two situations. They are incompetent or they are corrupt. My sense is they are incompetent, and that is even worse. They do something, they don't even know what impact they would have, and they live in an environment where students take extreme steps, people go to extreme lengths to do well in these exams, and even
Absolutely.
then they have done this.
And plus, now they are so vigilant about every topic. If they didn't have anything to hide, they would not have been so proactive. We have been breaking it that you have to do the syllabus update. They took months to give the final syllabus, and that was also full of mistakes. And during these time, every other minute they are releasing 3 pages of press release. So
No,
that is very ironic.
yeah, Dr. Anand, no, talking about this particular case, they say that 1563 students have been given these grace marks because they were short on time. The evidence available so far is that it has happened in multiple states because the cases are filed in the Chhattisgarh High Court, Delhi High Court, and Punjab and Haryana High Court. So I would assume that these kind of mistakes of time not being sufficient time not being given happened in 4 states. Did you know about this soon after the May 5th of May when the examination was held?
Yeah,
Did these reports get to you?
uh, these evidence were there. All over social media, people were telling that we got a different set of paper. Okay, acha.
Yes.
Interesting thing is that the paper that this student has conducted is a different set of paper. It is N2. It had
Hmm.
the entirely different set of question paper, and this is occurring after the paper has been changed. So there was something why different sets of paper have occurred
Hmm.
for the first time in the history of and I think NT exam. If I am
Hmm.
wrong, you may correct, sir.
Hmm.
Because everyone was getting the same paper only. Why did these people get different paper, and why was it changed 15 minutes later on?
Hmm.
So these are also the question we have to ponder. And if there was a loss of time, you could have
Hmm.
given them extra time at that point of event only, and you could have solved the matter then and there itself. That time you failed to accept your mistake, and you had incompetent invigilators, and now you are playing with the career of people who have secured so much marks. Matlab, I have been counseling people for over 20 days now, and every student who used to ask me, sir, I scored 635 marks. Will I get a medical college? And I was very sure. I was saying, yeah, you will get a medical college this time. You start studying for physiology. And he has been taking medical college classes from me. And now I seem like a fool. Matlab, what do
No,
I
no, I
say
think
about it? How do I
it's a
face those?
it's an extremely unfortunate situation. Even in the profile, couple of the 67 students who are the 720. I mean, as you were saying, it's always just 2 or 3 or max 4 students who have been toppers, who have been getting that 720 on 720 or the toppers. But this time it's like a lottery. He has 67 students in that 720 to on 720 bracket. Tell us something about the profile of the 67 students. Do we know where they come from, which
Yeah,
institutes they have studied from?
oh, I mean, it is phenomenal. I'll tell you this: we have 4 students out of those 720, out of
Yes.
those 67, right?
Hmm.
But 2 of them studied at Alan Nagpur, one at Siliguri Akash, and fourth one studied from 3 different tutors in Nagpur. So in
Okay.
our case, we could clearly see the data of these students, what they were practicing, how much they were storing in a mock test. My
Hmm.
sense is, if all the coachings, as I said, out of 67, 47, we have been able to assign to the 4 big coachings of India, right?
Okay.
They would have the data of those students. So it is very easily. I mean, if NTA is not going to come out, they have their 10th marks, they have their 12th marks, or if they were appearing first, they have their 10th marks for sure, right?
Hmm.
They could establish this very, very easily. But the thing is, they need to understand something is
Hmm.
terribly wrong. By the way, I want to inform you and Dr. Anand as well. The qualifying marks have gone from 137 to 164. So
164.
there is a jump of 27 marks there. What that means is, I'm assuming if the paper leaked, it was not available to everyone, right? Yeah, if it was available, you would score much more than 164. So overall, if 27 marks increased at the qualifying level, that means it is one big culprit. A culprit is the quality of the paper. They have done such a shoddy job that the marks are just becoming higher and higher and higher and higher. And on top of it, this grace marks thing has, if I can use the phrase, it has become cherry on the top.
But even among the 67 students, of course, you said quite a few are from the well-known coaching institutes. But are there some who we could qualify as some kind of ghost students?
I mean, Sudhir, my sense is, uh, one thing which worries me is, there is a photograph that has been published of someone at 713 from Maharashtra, right?
Hmm.
uh, One thing which we have to do is we have to protect their identities. There is a
Yeah.
serious issue there because these are kids. If some hanky panky has happened, their parents need to be held responsible, not the kids, right? Their photos, their names,
Should not
names
be.
cannot. Yeah, so there is some problem going on there, and it is. Have you seen this movie Peoply Life?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, no. Abhi deeply live. Abhi I am here because the mainstream media is still busy with the government formation. So they are
Hmm.
still busy with Narendra Modi ji. But I must ask you this because I myself have come into this from yesterday evening when I started reading. Because on the day of the election results, while I was in the studio, I was seeing some messages coming, but my mind was not fully focused on what was happening. But let me say this. See, what I've been reading, and correct me if I'm wrong, that there are about 6 to 8 students who are from the same center who have scored full
Right.
marks.
Eight students.
Many of them, at least half a dozen of them, have not mentioned their surname, which seems a little strange because you do need to mention that as far as the application form is concerned. Does this kind of raise suspicion of anything hanky panky, anything fishy having been done?
Sir, I believe that there is nothing fishy as such as per NTA is confirmed. Like Kapil has said, I think NTA is incompetent. I don't know what AI technology they use to normalize the marks. It is just that the affected centers that they have pondered upon. Because
Hmm.
even if some foul play was placed, no one would be that stupid to make them solve all the questions. So if
Hmm.
I am cheating, I would keep a grace of 690 marks, 700 marks to not be in the limelight. So I do not
Hmm.
believe that any foul play is there in that center. It's just The problem is with the normalization or the grace mark that they have given. And I can tell with conviction that the data that I have mentioned of 1536 students, I think that is also flawed, because or else the cutoff would
63.
not have elevated up to this level. अचानक से students इतने smart नहीं हो गए हैं. The point is that the paper, I understand the paper was easy, but it was not that easy. I have been taking tests, Sir has been taking tests. You would have seen people scoring 300 marks, 350 marks, 400 marks. And the paper has not been elevated up to that level that 67 students will score 620 upon 620. So, I cannot digest that, honestly.
720
So
on 720.
Sudhir, so what has happened is this 67 number is looking very bad also because they gave bonus mark on a physics question, because of which 44 aspirants increased. So it was initially 23.
20,
And
yeah.
Alan and Akash, when they published it, the numbers were much more moderate. But when they accepted, so in our case, the 4 students who have scored 723 of them is because their marks went up from 715 to 720 because the bonus was accepted on the physics question.
Physics question, yes, that's right. Now, let's look at what can happen now. What can happen next? What are the options before NTA? What are the options before educators like you? And what are the options before students and parents? Kapil.
First of all, if I am a parent, I would be very, very careful in terms of controlling the mental state of my child. I would not whip up the frenzy, and I would just take them out for vacation. This is a toxic environment to be on social media. There is too much going on, and it can easily lead to very, very bad outcomes and irreversible damages. Either there could be a mob that is outside, does damage to public property, and you might end up in jail, or you might do damage to yourself. So that part, I think a parent is in the best state to do it. With respect to what should be done now, in my mind, re-NEET is the only option. But before that, they should republish the results, and they should do it. In my mind, there should be an independent, some kind of an ombudsman. I don't trust NTA when they publish anything now. They are an affected party. They should appoint an independent set of individuals who have impeccable credibility and then publish data. They should not give any of these press releases. These are pretty sad. And for educators like us, we have to keep pointing out that these kind of papers, they do bad for everyone. A lot of students have asked me, sir, should we prepare for NEET, because how will I get through these cutoffs? Now, it is a nuance point that the ranks last year and ranks this year, 25,000 people is the same thing. But no, there is an optics of it as well. And that is terrible. So it is a tough thing.
So Kapil, you are saying that you are in favor of a re-examination, conduct NEET to 2024 all over again. Did I get you right?
But before that, republish the results. I mean, that will bring some sanity. See, again, if you look at the top, it seems there is rampant cheating or rampant hanky panky that has happened. But if you come down, you can clearly see 27 marks have increased at the bottom. They would not be at bottom if they had the paper, right? So that means that kind of leakage has not happened, but those 27 marks means that the quality of the paper was poor, right? But when you apply these grace marks and the cutoff has gone like this, I mean, I don't know if there is any other option but to not conduct NEET again.
Would you concur with Kapil, Anand?
No, actually, I do not believe that re-NEET is the solution. I'll tell you why. Because there are a lot of students who have worked hard, scored decent marks, and they have taken a break. So even if re-NEET was to be conducted, they should be at least given 2 months of time to study. And I don't think that is feasible in an academic calendar that adheres to such strict timelines. So I think re-NEET, if it has to be done, it has to be done for the students who were affected, whom you have given grace marks to normalize that. Secondly, I am in favor of the part where the result has to be republished, without grace mark, and the entire data should be out in public with their corresponding OMR sheet, with their corresponding marks, and we can do the maths, we can evaluate, and we can see what the actual scenario is over here. So I think the data that NTA is hiding is that 1536 number. I am very skeptical about that. I think it is much more than that. I think it could be around 15,000, and that will normalize the cutoff to 630 marks, which is still bearable for us. So that will be my first point of contact. Conducting re-NEET would be unfair for the students who did actually good in there. There must be some students who actually did. So I just spoke to one of my students who scored a marks of 715 marks, and he left that atom wala question, so he didn't get the bonus for that also. So for people like that, they have worked hard. They are now on vacation. They thought they'll get the dream college. Coming back and giving the exam again would be a mental trauma for students also.
No, it's tough. But Anand, the thing is, I talk to our students. We have a group where past aspirants got through us in government colleges, and now they're expecting. So one option that is there is assuming that everyone above 600 needs to be checked. You can just do exam for students above 600. That option is there, right? Almost like a JEE advanced. So just to be sure, above 600 there are 80,000 students, right?
True.
So conducting an exam for 18,000 students is comparatively easier, but again, it doesn't solve the problem for your student who's at 715. I'm sure my students who are at 720, they'll be like, what? It is not a crime, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
it is, I don't think there are any, you're right. I mean,
The point is, Kapil, that if NTA agrees to a re-exam, it would be kind of admitting that, yes, we messed up. And which is why I kind of doubt whether they would agree to something like this. My last question. Two of my students who are all India toppers when they were with me in 10th, they did exceedingly well in the board examinations of 12th also while they were with me. One from Lucknow, one from Calcutta. Now, the student from Lucknow, she scored 687 marks. She was expecting a rank of at least around 1150, 1200 in that whereabouts and a decent medical college. Now her rank is 5,600 plus. The student from Kolkata, she scored 684 marks. And again, she was expecting a rank of about 1300, 1350 types. Her rank is 7,200. What do you tell to these two students of mine? Anand?
I would say life is tough. I'm sorry.
No, please, Kapil.
Please continue, sir. Yeah.
I would say life is tough. Don't give too much credence to which college you are getting into right now. Keep your energy and your motivation for the next exam, which would be PG, which would really decide. But no exam is bigger than your life. So don't give too much weightage to an exam at age 17. It's just one of the stage gates to a much bigger picture, which you have ahead of you.
Anand, you want to add?
I would concur to what Kapil has said. I studied from a very premium medical college, and I have friends who studied from a tier 2 college also. So I do not believe in MBBS it matters that much. Obviously, AIMS is a differentiator, but apart from these colleges, it is more or less the same. Your PG rank or your PG college seat would determine the kind of exposure that you get into a medical college. So that is where you should look forward to. And sometimes life is unfair. You cannot do anything about it. You should move on and take a lesson from it. Obviously, there is no fault of yours in this, but still, what can be done? What's done is done. We are still trying our best to conduct a republishing of the result. If it happens, very good. If not, move on, get into a college that you're getting, and start from there.
Okay,
but,
so let's.
Sudhir, I want to say one thing. If nothing happens right now, it is going to scare a lot of people.
Exactly.
From NEET exam. So something needs to happen, and there has to be a proper closure of this matter, this grace issue, leakage, quality of paper. I literally want to believe that there should be a law that if there isn't a proper distribution in terms of scores, then there should be some kind of a limited 10%, top 10% writing exam again, so that distribution happens. Otherwise, these exams are becoming jokes now.
Yeah. So, I mean, not just scare, it's also scarring a whole lot of people. And that's pretty scary in that sense. You spoke about stage gate. I think, it's almost like facing a toll tax. And this is a pretty heavy toll tax that many students have had to face because they're dreams of getting into a medical college would be dashed because of the higher cutoff that would be there in NEET 2024 if no re-exam or no republishing of the results take place. And this is taken as the final decision by the NTA. Thank you very much, Kapil Gupta and Dr. Anand. Yes, Anand.
I'd like to just add one point. NTA has been screwing up things for over a very long time now. Be it the syllabus, they will come up with something new to give content to content creators. And in syllabus also, they made us such a stupid syllabus. Things that have been removed back in 2010, which was not in my time also. Now they have been added, like plant families. So there are certain things that makes no sense whatsoever, and they are still doing it, and then they justify it that this is in accordance to the state board curriculum, or this is in accordance to the this and that. And where was state board curriculum when it was 2021 or 2022, 2020? So I think NTA overall is an incompetent body. Either the leadership of NTA should change, or the examination governing body should change. That would give a lot of peace in our minds also, and the minds of the students also.
Right. Strong words there from Dr. Anand, who understands how the system works. Thank you very much, Kapil and Anand. I hope the powers that be are listening, because at the end of the day, no one else matters. The only people who matter are the students, the student community, their interest. Right. Because remember, we are dealing with 17, 18, 19-year-olds, fragile minds, and they need to be protected. They need to be taken care of. Thank you very much, Kapil and Anand, for this session. Thank you.